Hello, everybody. I'm Hugo from the product marketing team here at Elastic. Um, and today I'm going to talk about how we can implement AIOps, artificial intelligence for IT operations, using the Elastic stack. So AIOps is all about automating some of the tasks that are usually carried out by site reliability engineers um, or by people that usually wear the hat of an SRE. So if you need to ensure that the systems are up and running, even the systems that you are developing yourself. You are an SRE at some point, right? You were the head of an SRE. So it's all about making um, the lives of those people easier, right? And um, we have 5 main use cases in which AIOps can be really helpful. We are going to start with data collection today, but we have 5 in total. It will be a series of 5 videos. Um, and we are going to spend some time setting the basis for the rest of the use cases in this video. AIOps can help you, for instance, reduce the amount of noise that are coming from those systems. We are going to collect metrics, logs, and traces from applications, right? So the noise reduction is essential in there because otherwise you would get lost in the amount of information that is coming out of those systems, right? And obviously by reducing the noise, you can surface issues more easily, right? And AIOps will help you on that as well. Uh, Root cause analysis is also a use case on AIOps. It's all about correlating data from different systems to say, hey, that's a problem. There's a problem in the database, for instance, right? Given um, um, series of issues, right? And automation obviously will let you act on those problems that you have identified automatically with machine learning, basically, right? With artificial intelligence. So if you want to follow along the series of videos, there is a GitHub repository with all this material that you can use. We are going to need an Elastic Cloud. I'm going to use an Elastic Cloud cluster in this demo. You can obviously run it on premises because it's essentially the same product that is running in Elastic Cloud or on premises on Kubernetes. It's the exact same thing. And we are going to use an Elastic agent to collect logs and metrics from the infrastructure. We are going to also use APM to collect traces, and we are going to run this demo on a Kubernetes cluster. So here's the infrastructure, right, for this. I'm going to use actually the OpenTelemetry demo, which gives us 11 microservices that all communicate, um, and they are interconnected. So you can actually see that in Elastic how an interaction from a user propagates to different microservices inside this infrastructure. And the OpenTelemetry demo, it's useful because it's a common basis. So I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just using this. And obviously Elastic has out of the box support for OpenTelemetry, right? So this demo will be installed in a Kubernetes cluster, which would be running in the Google infrastructure. We are going to have a collector in there. This is all part of the OpenTelemetry. I'm not changing anything. And the collector will send traces, logs, and metrics for those microservices over to our Elastic Cloud through our Elastic Agent or our Fleet server. And we are also going to have an Elastic Agent installed in our Kubernetes cluster to collect logs and metrics like at the system level. Okay, so let's get started with the data ingestion, right? Okay, so first thing we need to do is head over to cloud.elastic.co. You can create a trial account if you don't have one. And we can just hit create deployment. We are going to need a cluster. So Elastic Cloud is going to deploy cluster. It's going to create a deployment for us. What I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create a minimal cluster. So the minimal possible. You have 3 cloud providers to select from. Let's select Amazon region that is actually close to me. And if you want to, you can just go ahead and create the deployment. But what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create a cluster in just one zone, 30 gigabytes. How much would that cost me monthly? Be $16, $17, right? That's the minimum. We have, of course, as your cluster grows, you can just add more tiers, right? In order to keep the data that you don't search frequently, for instance, in a warm tier or even in a frozen tier. I'm not going into detail about those tiers, but the important thing is that you can start as small as possible, and then you can add more capacity as you go without downtime. That's a very important distinction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cluster with just a hot data tier. The hot data tier is the tier that allows you to is the fastest tier possible. It allows you to receive data and search upon with the least amount of latency. We're going to add a Kibana, obviously, and the integrations server. That's it will have our agent in there, and an APM is already, it will be already there. You have an endpoint, and we are going to use this endpoint to send data to this cluster. So it's this Elastic Agent Fleet server right there. That's the integration server. Okay. I'm not going to add enterprise search right here because I'm not going to need it. And for our AIOps use case, we can obviously add machine learning in there. Notice that this node is free in Elastic Cloud. We are adding capacity, we are adding a machine learning node in there. It does not increase the cost. It's all for free. Let's just create a deployment in there. And let's just wait for it to provision. While we have our cluster, while Elastic Cloud is provisioning our cluster, let's take a look at our Kubernetes cluster, in which we are going to deploy our demo, right? Our OpenTelemetry demo. Okay, so we are going to use the OpenTelemetry demo Helm chart. I have connectivity already with a Kubernetes cluster in here. We have 3 nodes. You can go by with less than that, obviously. The demo is not super heavy. But what we are going to do is to use the Helm chart. So if you don't have Helm, you install, and you are on a Mac, right? Just install Helm, and we are going to, oh, it's upgrading Helm. Okay, so you get Helm, and then we are going to use the following values that will be in Kubernetes values YAML. And it's a very short file. The original values have all the definitions for all the 11 microservices that are in there and plus. But we are just going to customize the OpenTelemetry collector, and I'm not going to put anything Elastic specific in here. I'm going to use the plain HTTP exporter in the collector, right? And we are going to pass here our APM endpoint and our token. So the endpoint, we can check it in here. So just copy this endpoint, right? Don't forget to use the port, the TLS port, basically in the end. By default, it's not going to include, but in here you do have to include 443. And then the token, we are going to have to open up Kibana, right? Let's open up Kibana. And we are going to head over to the to fleet. We will have one agent installed in there, and this agent includes already the Elastic APM integration. You just click on it. You have to scroll down until you find the secret token, which is right here. Okay. Add the token in there. And we are done. So let's apply this. Helm. Obviously, you have to upgrade using the values. And what this is going to do is that Helm is going to create all the pods for us, and it's going to configure the collector to send information to our API. So while this is okay, let's see, kubectl get pods, everything here, everything is, so a lot of microservices in there. Then you can head over to APM in Observability, APM, and we are going to start to see the microservices coming up in here. They will be starting to report little by little. I'll let this run for a couple minutes, so we have this whole graph in here. And after this is completed, what we are going to do is that we are going to also collect metrics and logs from the Kubernetes cluster itself, right? I'll let this run. Okay, so a couple minutes have passed, and look, we have all the services in here sending data, and those microservices are sending traces, logs, and metrics. So for instance, this product catalog service can see the latency, throughput, transactions, can see the logs of every service in there. It doesn't matter if you have several under the same name or just one. The logs will all be here. You can filter them, obviously. So yeah, pretty cool. But that's at service level. We're collecting information at service level. What we are going to do now is to collect at system level. We're going to collect from the Kubernetes itself and to integrate Kubernetes to collect logs and metrics from a Kubernetes cluster in Elastic. It's pretty simple. You just head over to the Kubernetes integration, and you get that agent information that you can just apply to your Kubernetes, and that's it, right? Let's do that now. So in Fleet, in our agent, let's add a new agent. So this agent is the agent that comes with Elastic Cloud. Obviously, we are going to add new agents. Remember from our presentation, we are going to add an Elastic agent in the Kubernetes cluster itself. That's what we are going to do now. So let's do that. Add agent, and then I will call it Kubernetes policy. My Kubernetes policy, just to differentiate in there so you see it. Create a policy. And we are going to copy this manifest, which contains already everything that I need to communicate back to this server, to this Fleet server. We are going to actually, let's add it inside Kubernetes Elastic agent.yaml. Just pass this in there, and don't need to do anything else. As I said, all the credentials are here. See? So kubectl apply my file, and yeah, this will have all the credentials in there and service account and everything. So this will install, will deploy actually one agent per node in your cluster. So we are going to see 3 agents down here when this starts to send data, obviously. Just wait for a couple seconds until this is refreshed. Yeah, 3 agents have been enrolled and they are sending data. So let's make sure now, this is just a plain agent in Kubernetes. We are going to edit that my Kubernetes policy to add actual the actual Kubernetes integration in there. We just have the system integration. Let's click add integration and just search for Kubernetes. Yeah, add Kubernetes. So just tick everything. Kubernetes controller manager, audit logs too. I want everything, right? Just save and continue. This will apply this integration to all the agents that are associated with that my Kubernetes policy right there, right? And my agents should be updated. already, right? Revision 2, so it's the second version, right? After I've applied the Kubernetes integration there. So let's go to infrastructure, and we will see our 3 nodes in there. Metrics are starting to arrive. The logs should be there as well. So those are my nodes. I can see also the pods that are running. You see my demo, AIOps demo, that it's deployed in there. You can see the Kubernetes pod logs. So that's for the front end. The front end has some connection issues, I guess. I can see the logs in there, right? Yeah. What if I wanted to add syslog? I could just add a syslog integration to one of the agents, and then I'll have a port in there, and I could just ship syslog data in there. So pretty quick, pretty easy to have APM data flowing in and Kubernetes metrics and logs flowing. So the next video, we are going to talk about reducing all this noise that is arriving, right? We are shipping metrics, shipping logs from different services. Good. What can we do to reduce the noise and only focus on what matters? That's for the next video. Hope you have enjoyed it so far, and I hope you're following along. And see you next time.